Your golf ball is the most technologically advanced, or it's not. Your golf ball is either the most consistent, or it's not. It's the most trusted, or it's not. The fact is, it's either Titleist, the best performing golf ball in the world, or it's not. Prove it for yourself. Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. What will you play?
I've never seen anything like it before, and to attempt to hit the ball out of there is pure madness.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Cameron Smith.
This is the one that I've always wanted to win since I was a little kid. So it just feels pretty amazing to be able to get it done today.
It's amazing that it's my destiny to be the first Aussie to win. Just incredible.
Hello and welcome to Playing from the Tips and the 57th episode of Golf Australia Magazine's preview and tipping podcast that covers all corners of the world, as well as highly interesting and some completely uninteresting facts and figures of professional golf. Jimmy Emanuel here in the command chair of the ragtag bunch of misfits we call our so-called experts as we visit Texas, Coffs Harbour, Florida, Las Vegas and Augusta, Georgia this week. The first of that motley crew is someone who I've never heard so many positive things said about as last week at the Women's New South Wales Open. Probably because he wasn't there. That is, of course, Rod Murray, or as I had feedback last week, Little Roddy, because someone is a really big fan of that nickname.
Someone's a listener.
Someone's a listener and a big fan.
Thanks, Karen Harding.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Karen Harding.
She coined the term, did she not?
She did coin the term. Yes. Yeah.
Well, not a little bit, but Roddy.
She said Roddy. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
We
so
said it.
You,
We said
you constructed it from there. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Next, we bring in a man who, like a LIV golfer unable to accrue ranking points, is drastically falling down the list of golf tipsters due to a rare cold streak. Burr, it's cold in here. There must be some Adrian Logue in the atmosphere.
Nice.
Yeah, Logue, welcome.
I admire how hard you've worked on that.
You think that was hard work?
You got me.
It's true.
Sure.
Slump.
It's true of all of us, isn't it?
No.
Well, some of us have never had any potential. So we're not living up to anything.
Does Rod not even have a win?
I'm sure he had one at some stage.
Last year, I think.
Yeah.
And I get this.
Yeah, because you carry on about how good you are.
Welcome to Tigers World, mate.
Yeah.
It's a different standard that you're marked by.
Yeah, that's right. Scotty Scheffler finishing runner-up last week.
Yeah,
It's a
hopeless.
disappointment.
Yeah.
That's you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Those comparisons are okay.
Speaking of last week, what did we make of last week? Was there some highlights, lowlights?
A lot going on, wasn't there? Gabby Ruffles finishing second, I thought was fantastic. She is a player. But
She didn't finish second.
Not second, no. She led after
She
the first
finished
round. She finished a bit down. But
just
it was,
outside the top 10, but Hira Naveed finished second.
Hira Naveed is, yes, finished second. But Gabby Ruffles, I think, is impressive. She's going to do something pretty soon. Hira Naveed. Sue Thompson told me about Hira Naveed about 3 or 4 years ago. I'd never heard of her and kind of seen her name a couple of times since, but boy, did she come out of nowhere.
Well, I think she made more last week than she probably made in the Epsom Tour last year.
Yep, absolutely. So good week for Australian.
And Hannah Green shooting 61.
Yeah, 61.
Hannah Green, I think, showed enough.
Yeah.
She's going to be a threat at Chevron.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you had the 2 world number ones both going for 3 wins in a row. That's pretty impressive stuff.
Turns quickly, doesn't it? People were whinging 3 weeks ago about what a shocking golf season and all the rest of it, and then it just turned on storyline after. So the Women's New South Wales Open, where you were, Jimmy, was
Maria Uribe was just awesome.
Yeah.
Like, so impressive.
Class
So
above. You can tell, can't you?
Her and Bronte Law.
Yeah.
Clearly the best
You can
players
tell.
in the field.
You go out and watch and you go, oh, well, they're the 2 best players.
A lot
by
of
some
potential from the younger Australians that you'd like to see. Justice Bosio, they're showing enough, but that there's this other level, and when the wind got up a little bit, they sort of stepped up. And Keita Nakajima.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's a sign of stuff.
Kanaya won in Japan, did he?
Kanaya won in Japan,
So between the two of them, I don't think anybody else had a look on the Japan tour.
Yeah.
Well, there's Hisatsune as well.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
And the joy of DLF Golf and Country Club, of course.
Yeah.
Did you see Gary Player's tweet about that? His favourite bunkers in the whole world because of the lining and stuff.
He built them. Yeah. And Colin Montgomery said architecturally amazing.
Good Lord, yes, he did too.
Yeah. Anyway.
Although, you can't just dismiss quirk, can you? I agree. You can't just dismiss
you can get them in
quirk.
different colours?
Yeah, I've heard.
Oh, what's the colour range?
I don't know what the range is, but you can get them in different colours.
I reckon you could get a rainbow.
Oh, DEI Golf.
Well, let's get that happening.
They got swatches? Do you go and get like a swatch panel and you put them up against your bunkers and pick which one you go on? Stand there with a cup of tea? Yeah.
Speaking of all those players, we didn't pick any of them to win, although I did tip Uribe in a separate tipping thing. So
did you?
Yeah, I did.
Spreading yourself around, Jimmy.
Yeah, of course.
Never tip the same horse twice, mate.
Correct. But we did have a measly 2 top 10s. Quite a few close calls for top 10s, I must say. So we're now at a shared total of 51 top 10s and 7 wins, which I can once again exclusively reveal are the best numbers for a preview-based magazine-produced tipping podcast.
Very disappointed with Bo Hostler.
Bo Hassler.
New Jack Hustler. New Jack Hustler let me down.
He did let you down. Jason Day left me down. He missed the cut.
I missed the cut.
So did Minjee Lee.
Yeah,
That's what I get. Let's move into this week. And most people are already actually probably looking ahead to next week when it's the first major of the year, but we're going to run through everything. Let's go with men's golf first. Let's go with the PGA Tour because why not? We can. Rod, you're going to tell us about the Valero Texas.
Indeed. It's interesting that having the week before the Masters, you get lots of attention, but all of the attention is about how this week's only about next week.
Yeah.
So do you win in that scenario? Is there a...
No. Used to be the Bell South. Used to call this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was the Houston Open.
TPC Southwind.
Yeah. Which used to try and recreate the grassy conditions of Augusta.
That was where Mickelson first went with the 2 drivers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, so look, it's an interesting time on the week. Valero for Sponsor Watch. They're an oil company. What more do you need to say?
Yeah.
They're a leading oil company according to their website, but an oil company. As you would expect in Texas, San Antonio is where they're based. This is the TPC San Antonio 2 courses. The JW Marriott Hotel chain owned them. So there's a Pete Dye course. This is played on the Norman course, the Oaks course. Would contend for the most offensive building overlooking a golf course.
It's up there.
In professional world golf. You think Clubhouse TPC Sawgrass and you see that and you think nothing could ever come close to that. This is at least as offensive, if not more so. Horrendous building.
Is this where Stephen Bowditch won?
No, I don't think. Was he?
No, he won at... he won the Nelson.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He won twice, didn't he? Both times in Texas. But, yeah. So, look, it's...
this is where you get the cowboy boots where you win.
Oh, okay.
And they put them on the 18th green on a chair.
How many pairs of cowboy boots do you have to have out the back? How many shoes? What do you reckon the shoe size range is for the winner? A bit like the green jacket. They've got a bunch of green jackets out the back to bring it the right size. They must have a bunch of boots.
Just have an oversized one just for the ceremony. And then
so
there's shoe fitting later.
Right, okay. Yeah, interesting. Anyway.
It's just that has elevated the Valero Texas.
Oh, without doubt.
So having a quirky.
What's the women's one that gives away the boots? They're in Texas too.
They play at Texas when we get boots as well. I can't remember the name of that one.
Anyway.
Volunteers of America.
There you go. Well done.
Thank you.
Jarena Pillar country, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's indeed.
Some parts of the brain still work. Architecturally, nothing outstanding. Good course, but nothing outstanding about it. The 18th, most people will remember, it's sort of got shades of 13 at Augusta. A creek up the left side comes across the front of the green, and because it's the finishing hole, you see a lot of stuff happen there. The par 3 16's got a bunker in the middle of the green like Riviera. What do you think about this copy and caper of holes?
There's no,
you can see
no
the temptation,
new
can't
ideas.
you? No, you can see the temptation. We had a run of island greens last couple of weeks.
Yep.
Well, not island greens, obviously, because they're connected to the land. Huggy.
Shout out to Huggy.
Yeah, my apologies. Scoring tends to be in the 15 to 20 under range, so it's the sort of numbers you'd expect from a PGA Tour golf course with a PGA Tour field. So in that sense, nothing particularly interesting this week. However, as you've already alluded to, Jimmy, the tournament within the tournament, and depending on your level in the pecking order of golf, this tournament's either about getting ready for next week or trying to get into next week. Mm-hmm. So the winner gets in. Happens more often than you think. It's happened twice in the last 4 years.
Corey Connors,
I think, last year was not in the Masters field, and then I don't know who the other one was. But yeah, twice in the last 4 years, the winners.
That's a good story. I like it when that happens.
And it's just that nice last little bit of the biscuit for Augusta National.
Yeah.
They've cornered everything, including the winning ceremony if the person wasn't already in the field. What do you reckon it costs to make a last-minute booking for the week at Augusta?
Crazy.
Sunday night, you're trying to find a space in Augusta for a professional golfer and his crew. Good luck.
Yeah.
If you can find it, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. McIlroy's probably headlining, but he's the favourite with most. This is his third time here. 2013 last year where he missed the cut. 22, sorry, where he missed the cut. I don't know. This just doesn't look like the course for him, to me. He's clearly the highest ranked player in the field. I don't know, but with Augusta next week, he's
just going to be
distracted.
thinking about this.
That's right.
He would have been looking at this in his calendar thinking, how am I going to use this?
That's
week?
right.
Yeah.
Is it so that I can mentally just sort of walk into Augusta without overthinking it?
Yeah.
Or, and I want to work on some stuff on my game or something.
He'll be asked relentlessly about next week, of course, because of his history there as well. That's going to happen no matter what, but you're putting yourself out there public. So, look, it's an interesting decision. We'll see how it goes. Other big names in the field, Ludwig Aubert. A lot of people like his chance. I think he's on the second or third line of betting. Morikawa, Matsuyama, Max Homa. It's a mix because a lot of the top players will take the week off, obviously, with Augusta coming up next week. I imagine Augusta National's a pretty busy place around this time of year with players flying. I think we saw Tiger was there last week.
He was indeed. Played with Fred Ridley. Yeah.
Is he his lawyer? Fred Ridley is his lawyer?
I don't know.
I read a line that said he played with his lawyer, Fred. I didn't think it was. Anyway.
I can't imagine Fred Ridley still doing too much practicing.
Well, you wouldn't have thought. I mean, where would he find the time with that hair?
Yeah, exactly.
There's no time to go to work. It's a full-time job in itself.
Just keeping it all
coiffed.
Coiffed.
Yeah. Coiffed or coiffed? Coiffed is
Coiffed.
Coiffed. Q-U-O-I. Coiffed is something else. Tips time. Alex Noren for me.
Okay.
Playing sneaky decent golf.
When was his last win?
A long time ago, but he's in the top sort of 10 in accuracy off the tee, and that's really important. His Norman course really does sort of demand you drive it in the right spots. Once you've driven it in the right spot and you've sort of got the angles, you can do well. But he's been playing sneaky good golf, including he finished tied 11th last week. So you never see it on the coverage, so his name just escapes you. But tied 11th, and he hasn't missed a cut all year, and you know what he's capable of when he's playing.
Yeah, I like it. Like?
So,
I like Brian Harmon this week.
Okay.
I think some players who have had a solid career, which leads to a somewhat unexpected but deserved win in a major, they kind of say, okay, that's it, I'm done. But I think Brian Harmon is one who still has a bit of fire in him.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
Still something to prove.
Still got the gritty, paving type competitor in him, doesn't he?
He's still the quality player he was before the British Open win, and I think he's going to get another win somewhere, and this feels like a good week.
Is he another Zach Johnson? One Open, one Masters?
Could be. Wow.
Yeah.
Zach Johnson, exactly the same sort of player.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
100%.
Just stands on the other side of the ball. A lot of Zach Johnson about Brian Harmon, a lot of Brian Harmon about Zach Johnson.
Nice. I like it.
And I don't think he's going to be afraid to win the week before a major.
No.
That might be the biggest change, mightn't it? You see him bob up in that top 5 more often these days, and he stays there longer. Even if he doesn't win, he's kind of in it till the end. Yeah, good shout.
I'm going to go with Adam Scott.
Okay.
One here before, one in Texas a bunch. He's won every PGA Tour event in Texas, I think. He has played some decent golf this year. This is the kind of thing where he just would win. He'll be obviously but he's changed up his Augusta prep and done all that. He's been through I play the week before, I don't play the week before a million times. None of it actually is proven.
Makes any difference.
Just go with what you feel like. It has a bit of an Adam.
You've been very busy away from the course, Adam, too, with all that policy board stuff and whatnot. It's a pretty, because normally 10 years ago, that was nothing. It was just, I imagine you got a bit of money to turn up to the odd meeting. Yeah. Hasn't been like that in the last couple of years. There's been a fair bit to talk about.
Let's stay with the men's game, and LIV Golf is back in action for their traditional, in inverted commas, Masters prep by going to Florida. This time, though, no Crooked Cat. Trump National Doral.
It's a sad day. Anybody who tries to make the case that the game is better with Crooked Cat out of the professional arena, don't talk to me.
Did Crooked Cat outgrow LIV, or did LIV outgrow Crooked Cat?
It's a great question.
That's a great question.
Maybe we'll know in years to come.
Yeah.
What was the grasses?
It's a public.
It is, yeah.
What were the grasses? It was something Heather? Florida Heather.
Still the greatest quote of all time when I think it was DJ was asked at Augusta the week after and was like, what do you take from last week to this week? And he goes, nothing.
Just the delightful honesty.
Just they're both golf courses. This golf course is, of course, the Blue Monster at Doral. Very familiar tournament venue. Had LIV's final event in 2022 in the team sort of thing. I think they've been back there again. It's in the middle of their season now. These things sort of are changing constantly with them. Designed by Dick Wilson, Blue Monster is exactly as the name suggests. Monstrous, water, big bunkers, sloping greens, full PGA Tour LIV host venue vibe. Memorable, if not remarkable, sort of final hole. I actually only learned this week, and it's a shame on me because it's the first line on the Wikipedia page. Doral is the combination of Alfred Caskell and his wife Doris.
Doris, yeah.
Never knew it.
Really?
Never knew it.
Was he in cigarettes or tobacco?
No, real estate.
Real estate.
Looked like he smoked it. Anyway, on the player front, the biggest interest is going to be those that are going to the Masters after this. Of course, these guys don't get the choice. I don't have a total number, but you've got John Rahm, Cam Smith, Brooks Koepka, Neiman, Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, Patrick Reed, Sergio, all those sort of guys. So everyone will be watching those guys and seeing how they're tracking ahead of the Masters. And I think we're going to get one of those guys who's going to win this week, and I think it's going to be Cam Smith. Played decently in the last one in Hong Kong. He lives in Florida. He's used to all that sort of stuff. Another one who's not going to get near the win and be thinking about next week. He'll be thinking about next week, but he's a competitive sort of guy. He'll want to win. So Cam for me. Rod?
Even without his mane. I saw a story that he'd had his hair cut. That somebody who gets paid to do this thought that was a story. Cam Smith had a haircut.
It was an April Fool's joke to start with.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm sure he doesn't have his haircut.
No. And that many people fell for it, hook, line and sinker. Yeah. Whoever's running the Ripper GC team accounts, good on them because they got a lot of people. But
there you go.
I would have been shocked.
Feel pretty silly now, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And I've seen him with a mullet. Go, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, Rod, who wants to tip? One of you.
I was going to go with Paul Casey. No reason, just because why not? Finished second in Hong Kong last week.
Got concerned for a moment there when you went to Rod first because I thought he was going to go for this player who he always goes for, is Lucas Herbert.
Nice. Any reason? Just
Miami, I think that's his vibe.
It's a very Herbie vibe, isn't it? Yeah.
That's 100%. Yeah, I like it. Yeah,
now that you've said it, it makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. I'm on board with that.
Your golf ball is the most technologically advanced, or it's not. Your golf ball is either the most consistent, or it's not. It's the most trusted, or it's not. The fact is, it's either Titleist, the best performing golf ball in the world, or it's not. Prove it for yourself. Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. What will you play?
Let's switch to the bounty of women's golf on offer next. And Logue, why don't you lead us off with the LPGA and the full name of the T-Mobile match play presented by MGM Rewards?
It's, double barrel sponsor. We've got T-Mobile leading us in. It's formerly the Bank of Hope match play, but now T-Mobile, I think everyone knows what that is. MGM Rewards, I covered this tournament last year for this podcast.
Okay.
So I'm just referring to my notes from last year, and MGM Rewards is a loyalty program of MGM Resorts.
There you go. Just thrilling stuff. You've got mobile phones and gambling.
Yep. They're very big in Las Vegas.
They are, indeed.
14 properties in Las Vegas. Indeed. There's a number of changes to this tournament this year. Last year was just straight up match play with a field of 64 players. This year, the field has been expanded to 96. And rather than competing in group play for the first few rounds, there's going to be stroke play.
Okay. Right, like a qualifier, like the US Amateur idea. Yeah.
So there's actually three. It starts Wednesday, so it's still going to be this tremendous slog. But 3 days of stroke play with a cut after 2 days. So there's a 36-hole cut, which brings it from 96 to 65 players, 65 plus ties. And then after 54 holes, so all of the stroke play, you end up with 8 players advancing to the weekend's match play.
Okay.
So only 8 players playing on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay. Saturday and Sunday. You can do that for one day. That's going to be a tough stretch for the commentary team on day 2.
So there's a quarterfinal and semi-final on the Saturday and the championship match on the Sunday. So it really gets down to
I suppose it'll
very tight TV product
so much.
Oh, your winners can have played
your winners
100
are still going to
holes.
play a lot, though. But yeah. Anyway.
That's a better format, I think, than the round robin pool match play.
But then, can you call the tournament the match play?
No, it's decided at match play. We call the US Amateur match play.
We call it the US Amateur.
That has medal qualifying as well.
Yeah. Can we not call it the T-Mobile medal match play presented by MGM Rewards with a caveat after 54 holes?
You can call it whatever you like.
I'll be calling it that.
Right. The tournament returns to Shadow Creek, which is a Fazio in the middle of the desert. Speaking of financing golf courses, Steve Wynn, the casino mogul, financed this course. A lot of earth was moved to do this. And it features this is the big waterfall week of the year. Some spectacular waterfalls. which just shout out, as I did last year, to Outside the Lines Construction Company, who created the rock work and water features for Shadow Creek.
Oh, there's no one else to go to.
No one else to go to. Over a couple of kilometres of rock bed streams they created for Shadow Creek.
Okay. Good on them.
Crucially, I think this week there's a 2-week gap between this tournament and the Chevron.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Chevron's not going up against Augusta next week, so there's we've got a couple of weeks gap there. So I think that plus the chance to qualify. This is actually the last chance to qualify for the Chevron.
Right.
Okay.
I think both those factors have contributed to a much better field than this tournament has gotten in previous years. Some notables include Nelly Korda going for her 4th straight win, defending champion. I can't believe I'm painting myself into this corner of having to pronounce his name. Pajare Anna. No. Jimmy? Pajare
Anna Kanaran or something?
Anna Kanaran.
Yeah.
Good. Ayaka Furue is in the field. She's been runner-up the last couple of seasons in this event. Angel Yin is back from injury and hopefully ready to continue the form that she found last year. It was really good to see Angel Yin playing some good golf and really working her way up the world rankings. The Australians in the field, Minjee Lee, Steph Kiriakou, Sarah Kemp, and Gabby Ruffles. My pick, someone who hasn't been showing great form, but I think the format of this event back on US soil, Rose Zhang.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good call.
Solid. Rod?
Who did I pick? Oh, yeah, Leona Maguire.
Nice.
Good match player. Similar to Ayaka Furue. Tough to play matches against. They give you no holes. If you're going to beat either of them, you've got to beat them. You're going to beat them one hole at a time.
Going to give up over 7 rounds or
No.
you end up having to play like...
No, so I think the format, so she hasn't had a great year, but again, the switch of format sometimes can help a player when you're not adding up the strokes as you go because you've got to write them all down and give a total. Once you get to the match play, it is a completely different mindset. Not all players like it. I think she's one that would.
Yeah. I think after a miscut, Minjee Lee bounces back and will be in that final 8 at the very least.
She's an imposing figure, isn't she?
And match play, she should be so dominant.
Yeah.
Like, is such an impressive ball striker. Can you imagine playing against someone who's hitting 6 irons to 8 feet constantly?
Yeah, just watching every shot.
Gives
Nice shot.
100%.
Nice shot.
Yeah,
nice shot.
exactly. Yeah.
Great.
Getting used to new clubs and everything like that. So I think that's been a little bit of a...
She is on the road to potentially being a great player in that alien class, not just the very, very, very good, that alien class.
Would you rather Minjee Lee's career to date or Lydia Ko's career to date? Lydia Ko obviously had a lot of time at world number 1, but...
Minjee's
2 majors each.
Her major record is disappointing, Lydia, frankly.
Yeah.
You'd expect her.
And
to have
Minjee
5 or
had
6.
that run where she finished top 10 for every
week.
week.
All year.
Yeah.
I think she had virtually every week for a year.
Like,
just extraordinary.
Just a ATM.
It'd be interesting to see how that pans out. And I really enjoy. I finally watched that Australian story.
Oh, yeah.
Of,
with her and
I
Min
haven't
Woo.
had a look at that yet. Is it worth it?
really worth it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Next, let's come back home. And while this cohort likely won't agree, the host venue for the WPGA Tour of Australasia and Ladies European Tour is often referred to as Australia's Augusta. We won't even really delve into it, I think. But I speak, of course, of the Australian Women's Classic Bonville, presented by Pacific Bay Studios.
It's got concrete paths like Augusta.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
It's the aesthetic, isn't it? It's just the
It's the
trees.
aesthetic, yeah.
It's the playing through the tall pines is the...
Yeah. More importantly, first, what is Pacific Bay Studios, you ask?
Great
Do
question.
ask, yeah.
I found all about them last week when I was at Magenta Shores. So let's ask them and their website. Pacific Bay Resort Studios and Village will be the first fully integrated feature film production and post-production complex in Australia.
Wow.
Merging advanced virtual studios and sound stages with accommodation and lifestyle facilities, all located on 100 spectacular acres of the Pacific Bay Resort.
Well, it's in Coffs Harbour, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that
It's got the little 9-holer.
Correct. Yeah. So,
That's really interesting.
yeah.
Bit of movie magic in Coffs
Yeah,
Bay.
that's right.
Coffs Harbour.
Coffs Bay.
So there'll be celebrity spotting. Has it opened yet? Do we know?
Yeah.
So there'll be a bunch of celebrity spotting going on?
I don't know.
I imagine.
But there you go. So they're the new presenting partner of the Australian Women's
Good
Classic
regional... That's a good regional story, I reckon. Something that big can be,
I think
produced
there
out of
might
a
be
place like
some
Coffs Harbour.
involvement from a potential Hollywood heavyweight who spends a lot of time in there.
They do a lot of filming out here, don't they? Hollywood stuff here in Australia.
They do now, yeah, absolutely.
It's a real sort of...
like producing this whole tournament and it's actually not really happening, like a moon landing or something. And
we'll hear about that in the Facebook comment section. Now on to other matters. Almost the same field as last week at the Women's New South Wales Open. Notably for Australians, Cassie Porter back from Epsom tour duty, so she's in the field. But a really good LET contingent. Last week's winner, Maria Ho Uribe, runner-up Bronte Law, past champion Meg McLaren, Momoka Kabori, and to test myself out for the pronunciation status, Laura Funfenstook. Apologies, Laura. Yeah, there's no Nstook. No, there's no Fen. Yeah. And every time Amateur Justice Bozio pegs it up at a pro event, keep an eye on it.
I'm Bozio. Is that from her? Bozio? I would have gone Bozio.
Bozio.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Sorry, Justice.
Yeah. Bonville Golf Resort is actually a magnificent facility. Ted Sterling and Terry Watson designed. I spoke to Ted Sterling on the phone last week, actually.
That would have been entertaining.
Always is.
Clearly not for publication.
Correct. Rolling hills, big gum trees, intersecting water hazards, white sand bunkers. Very much supposed to be that Augusta aesthetic. The reason so players will be in carts again this week. I did find out from Ted. The reason the holes are so far apart, they were all separate parcels of land.
Oh, really?
And while trying to get it all together and all over the line at once was taking a long time, they just started building golf holes on these separate parcels of land.
It's a bold way to go about it, isn't it?
There you go.
There you go. That is interesting.
So, with all that in mind, let's get some tips. I'm going to start and go with Bronte Law. Yeah, cop that.
Same thing. Who isn't picking Bronte Law?
I'm going with Bronte.
She was very impressive last week.
She looked dangerous on Sunday.
Probably had the advantage. She spoke last week a couple of times that it visually was similar to Hunt Stanton, where she plays a lot of her golf, but it was a bit softer. So the shots, she hit some chip shots that were so good that probably didn't get the result they deserved. She's now finished in the top three the last three times she's pegged it up. She ran into a freight train in a rebate, basically.
And almost stopped it.
If she gets off to a better start, they won't catch her.
No.
She
had a look that reminds me of Rahm. Last week. He gets that look too. It's just, I don't care what happens. I am determined to win this thing. It's just an extraordinary, her attitude, even more so than a game, I thought, just from the bits and clips that I saw, was like, this girl's going to win something very soon.
Players who jump between LPGA and LET, it's interesting. Some of them seem to go back to the LET and maybe feel like, I'm better than this, but don't do anything about it. Some go back and go, I'm going to prove that I deserve to be back in the other place. So that's Bronte Law.
That's right. I think we're universally
unanimous.
You're laying down the law.
Yeah, laying down.
That was
the only thing that might work against it is the nature of the course. It is the complete opposite of what we had in Jeddah last week. And it is a difficult one. There's a lot of elevated greens. So the higher you hit the ball, the better you are. And that doesn't tend to be the strength of most of the women players.
No, that's not necessarily her ball flight either. No, but Justice Bozio.
I was going to say Steph Kyriakou showed what can be done when she shoot 28 around the front nine there.
Correct.
The years she won.
I think the thing you see with those LET players playing these events, the more experienced ones, and those two spoke about it, Uribe and Law last week. They show a lot more patience when it's not going their way because of the experience, which is so important when playing a golf course that might not suit you, which a lot of the younger players, which a lot of the field don't necessarily have that experience.
You can lose balls at Bonville too if you start losing your head and spraying it wide. You start racking up shots in a real hurry.
Absolutely.
So what I like about weeks like this, Jimmy, is similar to last week. Lots and lots and lots of golfers in Australia will have seen this golf course and played it.
Correct.
And I think that's always fantastic when you're watching a professional event that you've been there and seen it before.
Correct. Yeah. Finally, it's still women's golf. This time amateurs, though. Rod, you have all the info on the Augusta National Women's Amateur for 2020.
Of as much info as I could find. It's an interesting tournament, isn't it? So I've been a critic of this, obviously, in the past. I don't say the whole thing is a bad idea. I just think it's been executed poorly in some ways. They forced the change of date for the first women's major of the year by instituting this, which I thought was a tad rude. There's a bit of box ticking going on with Augusta National. Having said all that, credit where it's due. They put on a fantastic event. The players definitely love it. Good luck to them. This still rankles me, though, that it's a 54-hole tournament. So they have 2 rounds at Champions Retreat. Then there's a cut made to the top 30. There's 72 in the field. Then the third day, they all go and play Augusta National, which I give Augusta a tick for, the whole field, and not just those who've made the cut. And then the final round is on the Saturday at Augusta, which is clearly what we all look forward to. So not to be overly critical, but I just felt like this one could have been done better than it was at the time. Here we are. It'll be a terrific event. Just one Australian in the field, Madison Hinson Tolchard, who plays at Oklahoma State. Was that Ricky Fowler? Is that the Orange?
Sure is.
Oklahoma. And quite the standout.
Yeah.
She can play. She's had a couple of wins in college events and whatnot, so she's not without a chance this week. I'll be honest, I don't follow golf as closely as I used to, so a lot of these names are not really known to me.
There's a lot of well-known stars in this field.
There's Anna Davis, of course, who's won it. Rachel Heck, who announced last week she won't turn professional, which is obviously quite interesting. Ingrid Lingblad. Megan Garnay, yeah. So it always throws up. Yeah, that's right. The lefty, the cool lefty with the bucket hat who won it a couple of years ago.
Yep.
So look, it's always a fabulous show. It's turned into a very nice lead into the Masters.
Yeah, it is good.
You get to see a bit of the course beforehand, and always interesting to watch these players play the course. The first one, I don't think we've topped the first one yet.
No.
Cupcho and Maria Fassi going head-to-head over the back nine, and everything you expect from a Masters is what they gave us. That's tough to do. We haven't seen it since, but I'm actually going to tip Madison Hinson Tolchard because I think she's got about as good a chance as anybody else. And I think the style of golf, she's from Perth. Mm-hmm. I think the style of golf will suit her. She would have played a fair bit, I would imagine, at Lake Carina, which has Mackenzie ties, obviously, and has a not completely dissimilar look to Augusta National, so she won't be out of her comfort zone in that way. So
just the occasion.
It's the occasion.
Yeah, but she's gotten used to playing a lot of big college events. She's played Aussie Open. She's played Asia Pacific.
She won't be out of her comfort zone in this company.
No.
They're all going to feel the pressure of being at Augusta National, but she's one of those in the class who she's not worried that Rachel Heck's in the field.
No.
Or none of that stuff. She knows that she's a genuine contender. So, yeah, go Madison. That'd be fabulous to see. We haven't had an Australian win in that event yet.
Yep. Logue?
Well, I think it'd be an amazing story if Rachel Heck won, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I just recently rewatched The Short Game, the Netflix documentary, which featured Amari Avery.
Yep.
Also Alexa Pano, who's playing this week in the LPGA event, but Amari Avery teeing it up at the ANWA. I think I'd love to see her do well there. Mm-hmm. She actually has performed well there in past years. So.
Nice. I'm going to go with Ingrid Lindblad. Yeah. Seriously good player. Probably you see them play these events and you think to yourself, oh, they haven't kicked on that much, but you don't watch that much college golf and it's hard to keep track of exactly how much success they're having. So I think she's a serious chance to win this week, and she'll be getting close to being finished in amateur golf.
She played in the second to last group the year Minjee Lee won the US Women's Open. She was leading after the first round. She blitzed them. She's a legitimate, genuine player. Yep, couldn't agree more. That
will do us for episode 57. But before we go, an important little last mention to the man, I think, who made this podcast possible. Mm-hmm. Also steered Golf Australia magazine for 28 years and gave me my start. Rod lots of work and even allowed Logue to write. So take what you will from those.
It's not all highlights,
it's not. You can't. 28 years, you can't have an unblemished record. The great Brendan James is finishing up full time this week at Golf Australia magazine, and I'm sure you too, want to congratulate the big man on a phenomenal career and thank him personally on behalf of Australian golf for what has been an extraordinary contribution to the game and media landscape in this country.
Could not agree more. He is an institution.
Absolutely.
4 days short of 28 years, I think it is.
Yeah, so
but no one's putting in that extra 4 days, are they? That'll do. Stumps. No, absolutely. Very good mate of mine, obviously, BJ. I've known him for years. We were cadets together and copy people together back at New Zealand. I was best man at his wedding.
Yep.
So it'll be quite the moment. He's been, for almost as long as I can remember, he's been the editor of that magazine and has served the Australian, absolutely, and served the Australian golf public fantastically. You can go through that magazine and it covers every aspect of the game and does it well. Way more difficult to do than he's made it look for so long. I don't envy who's going to follow him, whoever that person ends up being. But yeah, absolutely fabulous effort. Great. Hat tip to BJ. And if any of you know him and you see him around, shake his hand and thank him for the contribution he's made to the game.
Yeah, one of the most consistent voices in Australian golf, and the contributions he makes to regional golf as well, with his deep knowledge of all of the golf courses in Australia. Literally all of the golf courses in Australia, he has some knowledge.
Hang on,
and meat pies.
I was going to say every golf course near a bakery.
No
bakery, no BJ.
He gave a little bit of that knowledge to Mark Hayes last week on the Central Coast. There was the message of if you have time.
If you have time, we'll make time.
And his he always has an if you have time option, doesn't he?
Always.
And his contribution to golf photography.
That's correct.
Like he's a prolific photographer.
Absolutely.
Again, for which he garnishes very little credit.
Shocking drone pilot.
Yeah. Crashed a lot of them.
Straight into a tree at Bayview.
Yep.
Yeah, straight in, 48 foot up there. Did they finally get it back?
No, I don't know.
They had to get a cherry picker, didn't they?
Yeah. Anyway. Well,
Best of luck,
BJ.
Beach.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
You can, of course, keep up to date with all these events and more on the Golf Australia magazine website, golfaustralia.com.au, and we will be back next week on Playing from the Tips for our special Masters preview.